In this video, we're going to talk about tons of tips that I am using to help my two kids learn about money and tips that I used to become a master of money. Kids don't really understand money in the beginning of the journey. When kids are very young, we start off with them not really understanding money, and we can see this clearly by the example of handing children coins. If you hand children a penny, a dime, a nickel, they'll choose the biggest piece of money first because they don't understand the value of that money. They'll choose the nickel because it's bigger than the dime. They don't realize the value of that dollar and what it can buy you. Looking back on my journey of my childhood, what were some of the things that were big for teaching me about personal finance? Because our education system does not do it justice. There's very little talk about how to manage your money well and how to teach your kids to become financially savvy. This will help them become millionaires. It'll help them become financially successful. Ideally, it'll help them become more like you. Because kids take example from the parents. So if you're good with money, it's very likely that they'll watch your behaviors and your patterns and they'll learn how to get good with their money too. So if you're not good with money and you're just finding this video, you can apply some of these tips in your own life and start modeling the right behavior and teach your kids about a healthy relationship with money. So what are some of the things that are really important? I think the first thing is to talk about money. In many households, money is a taboo topic. It's a negative thing. People are very much in debt and they don't want to talk about how to use credit or to use credit. They don't want to talk about how to use money effectively. And kids just associate money with things, with stuff, with consumerism, and that's the wrong relationship to have with money. Money can be a great thing in our lives if we use it well. We learn how to respect and manage it. I think the most important first step, in my opinion, is to get your children familiar with the value of a dollar. And that's really important. If you just go out there and you buy them things on impulse, whatever they want, they won't understand the value of a dollar. They have to learn first that money is earned. And that's the first piece. You have to be giving your child some money for the things that they are doing around the house. I like an allowance. I think once the child reaches about 7 or 8 years old, it's a really good time to start bringing in the allowance. Think of it like a salary in your day job. It makes a lot of sense to provide them a fixed amount for fixed duties. They learn that as they perform their duties, they're paid an allowance. If they don't perform their chores, they don't get the allowance. But even more important, and taking it a step further to help them understand the value of a dollar, make sure there are opportunities for income, additional income that they can earn, like commission, for things that they do. For instance, incentivize the right behaviors. Pavlov had it right with positive and negative reinforcement. It actually works, not just on dogs. It works on children too. You need to positively reinforce the behaviors that you want to see in your children. For instance, when I was a kid, if I got an A, I would get $10. If I got a B, I got nothing. If I got a C, I had to pay $10, and if I got a D, I had to pay $20, which often meant I had to cut the grass 3 times if I got a D. That negative reinforcement taught me to study harder and to do better in school and pay attention. Positive and negative reinforcement. It's a great example to reinforce the grades that you might want. Now, I'm not going to say that the education system necessarily results in success in life. I know lots of people who didn't do well in school and are doing very well in their life today, but that's just one small example. I think you should have opportunities for them to earn more money if they work hard, because they need to realize that extra effort. For instance, if their chores do not currently include cutting the grass, maybe that's dad's job, and your son or daughter might be 12 years old now, and they're old enough that they could pick up the lawnmower and get out there and cut that grass, you could say, hey, I will pay you $20 to cut that grass. Boom, now they have a chance to earn more money, and they realize that $20 now is theirs, and they can choose what to do with it. Very important that you teach consistent savings habits early on. You want to help them save for their education, save for their future, teach them about delaying gratification. I remember myself when I was growing up, even 10, 15 years ago in my teens, I would look back and think to myself, okay, I want this new latest and greatest gaming machine. And no one would buy it for me. I had to earn the money to buy the item. But I remember thinking to myself, I could wait and save up all year for the Xbox. I remember when it first came out. And I can get the Xbox. Or I could go with my friends to the movies, and I could go maybe to the mall and hang out with some friends and buy some stuff there, and potentially buy a couple of small toys. And I had to sacrifice, I had to choose. You can't have both. And money is finite. That's an important piece. I know people are gonna get on here in the comments and say, what about abundance mindset? We'll teach our kids about that later. The first important concept is understanding how to delay gratification and that money has it's a finite resource. It's important and you need to respect it. The next thing I think that's really important that I learned around 13 or 14, and I kind of discovered this through gaming simulation. I'm a big fan of getting your kids onto gaming systems. Like Star Wars Galaxies Online was my first MMORPG. It was a real world ecosystem where you could buy and sell things in a auctioned atmosphere using, like, there was a bazaar you could upload items to and sell them, similar to what we have today with like eBay and Amazon and all that kind of stuff. But it was done in the gaming world. And this was like early 2000s, before a lot of people were shopping online. I was on there learning about buying and selling items and learning about the value of a dollar and opportunity cost and practicing investing. I would buy items, improve them, maybe merge two armors together and resell those armors for double or triple. And I was learning how to make a profit. And I, in that game, basically practiced the economic fundamentals. It's funny, at 12 years old in that game, I became one of the third, I think it was the third or fourth richest person of several 100,000 people on the server. And I thought, wow, when I turned 18, I looked at the real estate world and I looked at the wealth building atmosphere, and I thought, this is exactly like that role-playing game that I played online. And I actually basically took the same principles I used in that game and practiced them in real life with real estate, and that's how I became a multi-millionaire today. So modeling is important. Your children are going to learn from your behavior, and so it's really important that you teach your kids the right types of behavior. You want to talk openly when you're paying your bills. You want to show your children that you pay your bills. When you use your credit card, you can explain, hey, I'm using my credit card, but I always pay it off at the end of the month, and I'm using it to get points. Or you might go and say at the grocery store, we're using this coupon, or I'm shopping from this flyer, because money is very important to our family, and getting this for a better deal means we can use that money to get something else, to save for the future, for our retirement, or to buy just another item, right? We can get more for less. And that's an important concept to understand as well when you're trying to appreciate the dollar. Another thing I like just to throw it out there is investing. Teach your children about investing. And I don't know the exact age that's perfect, but I think around 13 is a good time to really dig into investing and have them play. There's tons of websites they can play with. Play with stocks. Teach them to buy into companies or investments that will have set returns. For instance, I'm planning to offer my children, my daughter's 3 right now, so it's way too early. Right now we play with money a little bit. She gets an understanding of what money is. Often I'll give her some money to pay for the item. She understands that dad works for money and money buys things that we need. You know, she wants something, she has to, use money to buy that. And she can't really understand exactly the value of a dollar, but she's getting close to it. Now, investing. How do you teach your kids about how to invest? I think the best way is just to show them. Go in and have them open a bank account. And for instance, I plan to open up a Microsoft Excel and say, hey, I will pay you a 10% return on your investment. And as they invest, they get additional money. So they can choose, for instance, to save half of their allowance, and it will grow at, say, 10%. So if they invest $100 of their allowance into the investment account, it will pay them a dividend of $10 a year, or almost $1 a month for no work. I want them to learn early on that when they get enough savings, say they even get some gifts from maybe grandparents and things like that, they save up a few $1,000s, all of a sudden their passive income could be a few $100s a year. We could be talking $20, $30, $40 a month. In many cases, it's like they just went and cut 3 lawns and didn't have to do the work. And I want that to be ingrained early on. I think it's really important to understand passive income and how that works, where you don't have to give your time for money. Your money can work for you, and that's an important concept I think every child should learn. And then compound interest is another one too, where we'll sit down and show them the modeling. Say, hey, you can have this whole ounce, you can spend it right now at the mall, or let's look what happens if you invest it over the next year, 2 years, 3 years, and show them the value of a dollar over time. I remember when I understood compound interest for the first time, I remember saying to my grade 9 math teacher, so why isn't everyone rich? And he laughed because he's thinking to himself, well, it's because no one's saving. The truth is, compound interest is the most powerful tool that we have, and we want our children to understand how it works. Money doubles, depending on your interest rate, every 4 to 7 years, sometimes 10 years, let's call it, on a slower interest rate. If your interest rate's like 7%, it'll double every 7 years roughly. The rule of 72 is how you determine how fast money will double divided by 72, the rate of which you're getting. So if we can teach our children that at their age, they have the potential for every dollar they save now to double 75 times, that's powerful. That's life-changing. And so I just think imparting that wisdom on our children is super important. And I'm gonna do more videos on how do you teach certain smart money behaviors and some games that I plan to play with my kids to teach them about money. This is just a high-level one. Are you even thinking about how you interact with money and your kids are watching you as a role model? Are you even thinking about that? This video is hoping to get you thinking about that and say, hey, have I even had a conversation about money with my kids? Are they watching me earn an income? Should I maybe even show them what I'm earning? That's very healthy. I know you got to tell your kids, hey, maybe you don't want them to share it with everyone, but showing them what some of their bills are and understanding money's coming into the household, money's going out, and that healthy relationship is even good for you to see how you manage your money. Maybe you take a look at it and you say, hey, I didn't even think about how much money was coming in and how much was going out. But this exercise with my son or daughter can be something we do on a weekly basis or a monthly basis. And it's good for the parents and it's good for the kids. And so I want you guys to take the initiative in your lives. The education system isn't doing it. Parents, we have an obligation. Brothers and sisters, you have the obligation to teach your younger siblings how to get better with money. And honestly, if you can master money early in your life, you will have such an easier go of it. Everything is much easier when you've mastered your relationship with money. Money and time are almost synonymous in the sense that once you've got enough of it, you have so much free time to do things you love, to pursue your passions and your loves in life. And honestly, if it's, for instance, fitness or love or emotional well-being or spiritual well-being, all those things, you can chase those once you mastered your relationship with money. So stay tuned for more videos on how to teach your kids about money. We'll do some cool specific examples later on. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. I'll see you guys in the comments. I'd love it if you guys had some cool ideas. I want to learn more ideas about how to teach my 2 daughters about money. As they get older, I'm going to have those conversations. And just because I'm a multimillionaire and I've mastered all this stuff doesn't necessarily mean they'll be interested in it. But I think that if we start early enough, we can mold our children. We are the role model for our children, and we can teach them what is the right path. And that's all we can do. Give them the tools and give them some of the examples for them to follow. And so in the comments, let me know some of the things that you're doing to help your kids get better at managing their money. And as always, if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Mike Rosehart, and thank you for subscribing and hitting that notification bell for future videos. The secret to unlocking a wealthier you is 3 levers in our control for our financial future. You can spend less, you can earn more money, and you can maximize the difference or maximize the return on your investment. Those are the 3 levers we have to play with. Let's teach our kids how to master all 3 of those levers. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye. How do you teach your little Einstein or your... In this video, we're going to discuss money. I grew up with parents who had different associations with money. In this video, we're going to talk about how to teach your kids. In this video, we're going to teach you how to teach your kids. In this video, we're going to teach you how do you teach kids about money.